along. The polls are open in New Hampshire. In fact, they opened just over an hour ago for the first presidential primary of the 2024 election season. This is brand new video from a polling site there. Voters have been steadily making their way inside to cast their ballots this morning.
And as we've mentioned, Minnesota has a big stake in the race with Representative Dean Phillips making a run for the White House. But he's facing an uphill battle. Recent polling shows 63% of Democrats say they'd write in President Biden's name, and just 10% say they would support Phillips. So Cece's tracking all of the early morning developments for us. Morning, Cece.
Hey, good morning, guys. So we know that Dean Phillips plans to be at the polls this morning around 7 a.m. our time. He's challenging President Biden. A little less than an hour ago, Phillips took to X. If you take a look at your screen, he said, "We all know it's time for change, and change requires courage. While our party calls your votes meaningless, I know they'll be the most meaningful votes cast in American history." So what does he mean by meaningless? Well, Democrats wanted South Carolina to hold the first in the nation presidential primary instead of New Hampshire. New Hampshire lawmakers didn't like that and refused to give up their first in the nation primary status. So the Democratic National Committee told New Hampshire voters their presidential primary election won't count. So that's why you won't see Biden's name on their ballot. You saw he was a write-in. This leaves an opening for challengers like Phillips, though, and he's taking this opportunity to say why he's the best candidate.
I've said this 18,000 times. I'm only doing this to defeat Donald Trump. Nobody seems to want to do that in the Democratic Party right now, other than me, because Joe Biden can't, is my proposition, because the data says he can't. No one in the country right now cares. In fact, most of the people in the country are going to the Trump rally right now because he's listening to them. No one's asking about this stuff. I'm just frustrated. I hope you understand why. I'm getting tired of it. You're doing your jobs, but you're not asking the questions that Americans give a shit about.
So a New Hampshire Secretary of State says this year's primary could see a record turnout. He predicts about 88,000 Democrats could participate in the Democratic primary and over 300,000 Republicans could participate in the GOP primary. Alicia.
All right, Cece.